We got Tim, Will, and me.
Tim, Will.
See, are we connecting?
This is live. One person watching.
All right.
Hey, but Adrian knows this. We're
10 o'clock on time all the time, Tim. You know that.
The usual no. It's never had them.
Okay. What's the clicking?
What is that?
Is that applause?
Yeah, but what's the clicking? All right.
We got a comment here.
What is the clicking? Don't you hear that clicking or no?
A little bit.
I hear it a little bit, but I'm not worried about it.
Adjust that. Hold on.
What's up, John? What up?
All right.
Can you hear me?
50.
That's pretty much what it sounds like.
Did the clicking go away?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was my.
There we go. Welcome back, Will.
Oh, shish. That just got really loud in my ear. Oh, my God. I said shish. You got me to say shish. What's up, guys?
Hey, Will. Welcome, everyone, to the Bleedbigblue podcast. I see a bunch of people are jumping in already. That's awesome. Nice. We have Will, we have Tim, and we have myself, and maybe a few other people to jump in. Who knows? Gentlemen, 0-2 yet again. I think that's the thumbnail. I think that's the title.
Tim, you forgot to wear white. Tim's dressed for the funeral that is the Giants season, and me and Marco trying to be optimistic here.
Yes.
See me looking down. I'm looking at comments.
Yeah,
Darren starting off right away. The G-men have sucked for the past 10 years. I can do a better job. Something we've all said, including the people who are now the Giants coaches and players. I turned off the last game after the first two series. Yeah, there it is. All right, we're 0-2, fellas. Everyone's seen. It's nice to be back with you. I don't know how many. It's good to see you guys. Talk football.
Yeah, sure.
I put a comment on Twitter the other day. I said I feel like the Giants are going to be the first team in history to have 16 moral victories in a season. I feel like every Giants fan's like, we
played hard,
pulled it off. Hey, did you see the defense in the second half? Well, so-and-so wasn't that bad. And I'm like, guys, are we lowering our standards a little bit? What do you guys think about that? Are there moral victories? Are you okay with the way we're 0-2 right now?
No, man. It's like beating a dead dog, man. I am so down on the Giants. I feel like it's we're rebuilding yet again in the wrong direction.
Right.
Gettleman has how many wins under his belt in the 3 years? 3.5 years. It's just.
What were you expecting? What were you guys expecting in the first two games?
1-1.
Any particular order, or just that they'd get a win somehow?
No, I thought they would beat Chicago.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought this was a 5-win team, but this doesn't even look like a 5-win team now.
Tim?
Always a little opposite. So, you know what? I actually thought possibly we could beat Pittsburgh. But you know what? We were in it for a while. And Chicago, that disappointed me a lot. I really thought we were going to win that game. The defense is coming along. They're young. And honestly, the one thing I was thinking about the other day, everybody's like bitching about cornerbacks too. You know what the thing is? If DeAndre Baker wasn't an asshole, he would have been there at the cornerback 2 spot. We would have been a whole lot better. So people want to bitch about Gettleman, not sure enough defense. But honestly, that's one spot we're missing. But people are playing a little lot better. I know Will is not a fan of Leonard Williams.
No, look, I'm not anti Leonard Williams. I think Leonard Williams is a fine football player. He can make a defense better. I'm not a fan of the fact that they gave up 17 draft picks just to take a look at him for a week and a half. That's what I'm not a fan of. It's like, you know,
Okay.
you're talking about DeAndre Baker. I mean, you can't ask a guy to not bring guns to a party. I mean, that's just, you know, that's who among us hasn't brought guns to a party. But I shouldn't speak about a legal battle that I don't know nothing of.
Well,
but,
one thing that pissed me off about that is how Dunbar obviously ratted him out, and he got nothing.
Yeah, and he's playing.
Yeah, and Dunbar was obviously in on it, but because he ratted him out.
You know, but Baker, look, DeAndre Baker was awful last year. I know there were a couple of games, maybe he was coming around in the last couple of games, but we don't know that he would have been any better. I mean, you think maybe better than Valentine, maybe just the fact that he had another year under his belt.
I would think he would have been better than what we're seeing right now. Back to.
Well, look, I mean, you guys know I'm the harshest critic of Dave Gettleman. I mean, you know how I feel about Gettleman. It's like Marino. It's like Ace Ventura with Dan Marino, okay, and not Ace Ventura, excuse me. In the movie Ace Ventura, right? It's Finkel with Dan Marino, right?
Laces out, Dan.
Laces out. But I have to say this: that the best players. We lost Marco.
I'm right here.
We're back.
Right here.
The show almost, improved. Marco, I love you.
Viewership
not having me back.
Viewership went up.
Yeah, right. No, but I have to say the best players in the Giants this year so far have been Bradbury, have been Martinez, and Dexter Lawrence. Those are Gettleman guys. Now, you know how I feel about Dexter Lawrence. I never said he wasn't a good player. I just said it wasn't the right pick at number 17 for a team that already had interior defensive line. But the two best players, I mean, look, PFF, people either love him or hate him, but their defensive player of the week was Bradbury. They had him as the number one player in the entire NFL during the week, for the entire week. Wrong?
You hear sound effects?
What?
It's been a long time since I had sound effects on this podcast. So.
I'm like, where'd that come from?
Now it's time.
You working on your ventriloquism?
Wrong.
There we go.
That sounded more like
wrong.
The current president.
It does. Number 45.
Wrong. You thought. But listen, so we're 0-2. We're coming into the tough stretch. We could talk about injuries and stuff. The things I've really been looking at, to me, the two things are Jones and Andrew Thomas. I mean, what have you guys thought in those regards?
As far as game one, Andrew Thomas played great.
Yep.
Game two, he definitely made some mistakes, but he's a rookie. It looked like communication mistakes where people are doubling on people instead of letting others go. As far as Andrew Thomas, Jones, I other than obviously the mistakes he made, I really haven't had a huge problem with the way he plays.
We're hearing right now, Daniel Jones equals Dave Brown, first rounder from Duke. Giants are clueless. It's not basketball. I don't know if I would go there. I think Jones has already shown. Jones has probably already had some better games in his rookie season than Dave Brown ever had. No offense to Dave Brown.
100%.
But people also saying, they've been rebuilding for 10 years. I'm hard on the Giants. They haven't been rebuilding for 10 years. They made the playoffs with Beckham 1 year. You can't. A rebuild is like they were still teetering around 500 for a couple of years. The quote unquote rebuild probably was like started, around the Saquon era.
Yeah, when the rebuild started when they fired Jerry Reese. Right there is the nature of the rebuild.
Right. Jones is Eli 2.0, I hope, man. I was watching some Eli highlights earlier, and I'm like, because, I got into a thing on Twitter. A guy was like, Jones just isn't clutch. And I'm like, look, he's like, you can tell he's not as clutch as Eli or Sims or even, who else did he mention? Even Hostetler. And I'm like, I kind of went off on the guy. I was like, listen, he played one season, not even a full season. His very first game was an 18-point comeback against Tampa Bay. He put up multiple single-game rookie records, passing things last year, records for single games and stuff like that. I said, it's just way too early. He said, well, a guy like Eli never had a losing season. So I said, well, Eli's first 8 games, he was 1-7 or something like that. And he had the worst stats ever. He was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Eli's first season. He went like 3 for 30 in certain games. They had to pull him. I mean, he was awful. But I did some research on a lot of the all-time great quarterbacks, or the Hall of Fame guys, the Super Bowl guys. And I have to give this other Twitter guy credit. For the most part, your legitimate quarterbacks do, even first and second season, win, 8 games, 9 games, some of them, Montana and some of these guys, 11 games. I mean, really only Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, and Steve Young are the only 3 marquee names who really struggled for like a full year or two. Even Drew Brees was like 2-7 in his second year, or 2-9, and got like bench or something. But, I think I like Jones. And I think there's potential there, and we'll see what happens. And it's early; he hasn't even played a full season, 16 games. But I would like to see some wins start happening.
So the question is, I hate to talk about this in week 3. If we're staring at the number 1 pick, trade down,
trade it for like 3 picks, and take Penny Sewell, whatever his name is, Penny Sewell.
Penis Swell? Who would take
Penis Swell, the guy,
I know you.
The number 1 offensive tackle in the past decade, supposedly from Oregon. You grab, or Makai, what's his name? Micah Parson.
This guy, I like this guy already. Love the name. It's the Penis Swell, whatever.
Do you don't know him, Marco? He's a left tackle. He's a sophomore. He was a sophomore, and he won the Pine, whatever the award is for best offensive lineman in the country as a sophomore. He's the most highly touted tackle in years. And by the way, whenever you guys want to get to it, I know I've been yapping a lot. I told you I had a lot to say.
I think Happy is in the lobby right now too. We could bring him on.
If we,
Happy.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? How you doing tonight?
How's it going, Happy?
I'm smitten for the first time in 2 years, my friend. How you doing?
I only hear a voice. This is very mysterious.
I'm watching the Celtics game right now. That takes precedence over video chatting with you guys like a bunch of 16-year-olds on TikTok. So I'm just watching the Celtic game and hanging out, listening to some insightful Giant takes.
What's the score?
They were down 12. They just cut it to 2 with 2:20 left in the third. Miami's up 2 points.
How's Tatum playing?
Awful.
I saw the first 5 minutes and he wasn't too hot.
And that's why I can't video chat, because I go into these Tourette's fits at times.
Not because, as previously stated by you 20 seconds ago, we're teenage TikTok girls, whatever you said.
Well, that's 1A.
Is this James?
This is
Okay.
What's up, buddy? All right. Well, it's hard to see. I can't see. You got the little circle there.
He's hiding. I'm
not going to say it's an improvement because I love you, James.
I think
it is definitely an improvement. You could say it. I take no offense to that.
We got comments, man. Jones doesn't take a brain surgeon to hold the ball. I don't think brain surgeons can necessarily hold on to a football. But I know what you're saying.
I don't think they have very good pocket presses.
Jones but they're very precise. Jones has to prove he's undoubtedly the QB this year. I mean, I think the Jets are in a position where if they had the number 1, they would piece out Darnold in 2 seconds to take Hansen. I call him Hansen because he's also one of the Hansen brothers. But for those people who are old enough to remember Hansen, what the hell is the quarterback? Trevor Lawrence. He looks like Hansen crossed with the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2 in the painting.
There's
Vigo the Carpathian.
Nicky Stakes, who always chimes in once in a while, is like, he keeps on texting me. He's like, "Oh, we got to pick up that hot chick in the draft this year." I'm like, all right.
Here's the bottom line:
the Giants won't ditch Jones.
There's a lot of I wouldn't say that. Here's the problem. You guys were talking about a rebuild. The rebuild didn't start in 2018. You don't rebuild by taking a running back at 2. And you definitely don't rebuild the following year by keeping a quarterback for 3 games on your roster for $22 million. That's not a rebuild. You don't give up a 3rd-round pick for Leonard Williams when he's going to be a free agent in a rebuild. So the rebuild starts now. Here's the problem. The problem is that Daniel Jones showed a lot of promise. The problem with that is that he showed a lot of promise under a quarterback whisperer named Pat Shermer. But you scapegoated Pat Shermer, and now we have Jason Garrett in control of this kid, which is terrifying. Okay, so what needs to the Barkley's injury? Let me tell you, I'm gonna before I say this, let me say that Saquon Barkley is a better human being than I am. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he gets back. God bless him. God love him. Okay, but if you want to take
Here it comes.
if you want to take a big step back and look at what's really going on, Giant fans, it was a blessing in disguise. Hit me, come at me. I'm sorry. Here's why. All right, and let me give you some depth behind it. What this means is that you're not going to sign him next year to a $17 million contract, which is absolutely fucking tremendously huge moving forward in a rebuild. Okay,
Wrong.
No, that's 100% right. What the other thing is that you have leverage to pick up his option in year 5 and not give him a contract. If he wants a long-term deal, it's going to have to be a team-friendly deal so that he has security long-term. The $16 million a year option is out the window unless he comes back in year 5 and shows that he can have 2,000 all-purpose yards and 15 touchdowns and be Saquon Barkley again. So you don't have to pay him right now. Okay, and right now you take him out of the equation. So what should happen right now is that they should open things up and the offense should be on Daniel Jones's shoulder. And what we need to see for the next 14 games is, can Daniel Jones make the guys around him better? Can he make this team compete? Can he pull a couple of games out of his ass? And if that's the case and he shows you enough promise and stops turning the ball over, because he has, 34 turnovers in 16 games and another 4 through the first 2 games this year. So if he could stop doing that and show some promise, okay, then you consider trading back. Until then, everything's on the table. If you have the number 1 pick and this kid is still fumbling in week 15 or throwing picks in week 15 and Trevor Lawrence is there, I'm sorry. You're taking Trevor Lawrence.
I'm not saying what they should do. I'm saying what I think they will do. I don't think that the Giants would abandon. I think the Giants would trade that pick personally. That's what I think they would do.
And pray that honestly, smarter heads prevail.
Honestly, I think its goal is going to come down to who's the GM.
Well, that's the terrifying part right now, Marco, because as this thing gets closer to the deadline, if he's a dead old man walking, do you want him trading assets? I don't want him anywhere fucking near my assets making decisions on who's going or who's staying long term.
Let's take a step back here. Think about this. It's week 2.
I know.
And we're already fighting about what to do with the number 1 pick in the draft.
I hate this.
Guys, listen, guys. The Giants are not getting the number 1 pick in the draft. They just not.
You can't say that.
The Jets are probably going to get it. The Giants are going to win like 4 games. The Jets are going to win like 2. It's not. There's Carolina's in the mix. Who knows? Washington, other teams, Jackson. It's not.
The only reason why it is too early to say anything right now is because the first 4 weeks it's basically a 12-week season, and the first 4 weeks are preseason football. All right, these guys are trying to win, but there's a lot of guys getting carries. They're doing a lot of different. They're throwing the ball more. You're seeing a lot less runs.
I think it's 2. Open. I think it's 2 week preseason. I think they pretty much have it ironed out by now. These guys are pros. These guys are pros.
Yeah, but man, I don't look at all the injuries that are going on right now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many guys are out, and some of these aren't. These aren't all ACLs. I mean, a lot of these are soft tissue injuries that are going on right now. That's for the lack of turning it up full speed. And I think it's going to take them a little while to get acclimated to the game speed, and you're going to see that more over the next couple of weeks. But for the Giants, for having a new staff and everybody, it's going to take some time to see this thing really what it's supposed to look like consistently. We have to give them that opportunity. I think now the most important thing is giving Jones the opportunity to show that he could put a team on his shoulders, because it's too early to say who's going to have the number 1 pick, but it's not too early to say that we may be in competition for that number 1 pick.
Look, I think right now, if our comments, by the way, about 50, maybe 60-40 people saying they would trade the pick instead of taking Lawrence and stick with Jones.
Cruising 20.
Four hosts, they about to wreck shit like
wrong button.
Whoa, just cursing. But what was I going to say? It's been 2 games. I think Jones's QBR is approximately what it was last year, and he's played 2 very good defenses. Can we say top 10, potentially top 5 defenses?
I mean, Chicago's not that impressive.
No?
They're about to get lit up this weekend. Take the over. And if you're looking for a good DFS play, throw Mitch Trubisky in there on the back end. How about that?
This guy you sound like a gambler, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. What's the Celtics score?
Hold on a second, because you got me all flustered with Giant talk, and now they just went to the fourth quarter. Hold on. We got scored by 5 in the fourth.
Jack, top 3 defenses is.
He's saying all
We're
3.
playing?
That's my good buddy Jack. He's saying that we've played that. I think what he's saying is both of the defenses are top 3, Bears and Pittsburgh.
Top 3?
Well, who are your top 3 defenses? Throw the Ravens in there?
Yeah. I would definitely throw the Ravens in there. I would throw the Chargers in there.
Steelers, I would.
Steelers are definitely in there. He already mentioned those guys.
But, I mean, look, you've got – okay. Here's an interesting thing. Again, I don't mean to keep mentioning PFF.
I would say the Bears have a good pass rush, but their secondary was very vulnerable last week.
Jack is saying Steelers, Bears, Niners when healthy. He's not even putting the Ravens in that category.
Yeah, but, when healthy, the Niners are legit, but right now they're desperate.
Well, I mean, they're like playing hot lava. They're not going to step on MetLife Stadium anytime soon.
Yeah.
They're just it's
not in good condition.
They're not going to. The coach might not even come out. I think they're going to come out like the kid in the bubble wrap in Little Giants. Jones's first game. Thank you.
That was a reaction, yes.
In the first game of the season, Monday Night Football, right? Daniel Jones had his highest ever ranking from PFF. They lost the game. They scored, 10 points? They scored, 10 points? Or was it 16? I forget what the score of the first game was.
How many points did they score off his 2 interceptions?
No, but what I'm saying is, as we know, PFF says, okay, here's the situation. The offensive line broke down. There was nobody open. The quarterback made the right decision. They try to just do how the quarterback did given his scenario. So what I'm trying to say is all last year, the records he set, the 5 touchdown games, no interceptions, this, and that. And they said that his Monday Night Football game this year was actually his best game. So when evaluating Jones, we have to take into consideration that you've got a new center, you've got a new right tackle, if you can call him that. You've got a new left tackle. It's, and you're going up against these defenses that are also veteran presence defenses. So
Jones has impressed me. I was not expecting him to be nearly as good as he is. He is tough as nails.
Yeah.
He has no problem stepping up and taking a shot.
Yeah.
He's more athletic than I anticipated that he would be able to do on the NFL level. I think that I would love to see him do more of that. And he seems smart enough to know to protect himself and get down and get out of bounds. But tough enough in certain situations to know if I have to get a first down to go get it. I like him.
Yeah.
He seems like he has good leadership qualities. He seems like he's a gym rat. You hear good things that he's in the facility and he's studying. Like the best thing for the Giants long term is that he turns out to be the guy that we need him to be, because trading back and having the quarterback figured out
is huge.
Expedites the process.
Yeah, it's huge.
But what's it going to take? Well, what's it going to take?
All that being said, that's what you want to happen. I'm cheering for that to happen. You don't want to take a step back and go right back to a rookie quarterback.
But what's it going to take? And Tim, I know you've kind of just been like politely letting us yell really loud. But what's it going to take? Him to have X number of yards, if you say, okay,
stop the fumbles in the pocket.
What about wins? I mean, would you rather?
I'm not expecting him. If they're competitive with this roster, I will give him credit for having them play above their head, because I don't think the roster is very good. So if he can get the most out of this roster and win a couple of games and have them competitive in games, and he's not fumbling the ball, I don't give a shit about the interception. Sling it, man. Sling it, kid. Take your shots. You're going to learn like that. It's
think-
the fumbles in the pocket.
I mean,
That will kill you.
I'm a sucker for an underdog story, and of course, him being slided in the draft and everyone booing the pick. Of course, I'm going to go for it, but
Chris Solberg says
I don't know.
that he's got it. He's not. Chris is saying he doesn't win any games. He's Chad Pennington.
James and
But
I feel like,
you
get
can't-
a
but
few there.
he's got a lot.
Saying
He's
he
got a
doesn't
lot
win
of
any
better.
games. Saying he doesn't win any games is not recognizing what the hell is going on. It's like firing Shermer for not winning games. The roster isn't good, guys.
yeah.
The roster
defender didn't even touch the ball
to win games. So there's constant turnover on the roster. Right before this season, we brought in what? 10
Yeah, but let's not
five?
act. But listen, let's not act like quarterbacks are not in a special position where you expect. I know this is not who we're talking about, but you could put Peyton Manning in his prime on the worst team in the NFL, and they'd immediately be a playoff team, maybe a Super Bowl contender. And there's a lot of really good quarterbacks who do that, right? Aaron Rodgers is probably at his prime, not going to play for a bad team. Quarterbacks are in a position where you expect them. People say, well, I don't care what Eli's numbers are. I don't care how the team is around him. He just found a way to get it done in the fourth quarter. So there have been worse teams. Like, the Giants are not a good
couple
team.
of years, though.
Well, the Giants.
Like Eli in his first couple of years didn't. Peyton in his first couple of years threw how many interceptions? His first.
Absolutely. I just think that I'm starting to kind of. I'm not saying where I'm at. I'm saying the tide of what I'm hearing from Giants fans is like, okay, first year we saw some good individual performances. There's a lot of growing to do. We fumbled this, and that. We're now in the second year. Defense looks a little bit better. Now we want to see him step up and increase a win total. Maybe get to 6 wins, so we could say, okay, now we're getting better.
I think you're kidding yourself. I think that you're not looking at the big picture. I think the big picture is, could the kid play? Could the kid play? If they win, what's the friggin' difference between winning 7 games and 4 games? The only thing that's the difference is it cost you draft picks. Okay,
well, I'm on the record as saying that I hate winning between 4 and 7 games. Either win 8, so you're like, okay, we're kind of there, we're about to, or win like 3, so you get the pick. Between 4 and 7 is the worst purgatory to be.
And that's what I'm saying. So when these Giant fans are saying, oh, he needs to win 6, 7 games, like what is that? What does that get you? Like
but you have to know that the guy knows how to close a game, that the guy knows how to come down and win and lead.
How the fuck can you close a game when you have a rookie tackle, Cam Fleming, who it might as well be you, me, or Tim out there, and Gates, who's just learning how to play the position. And it's not like
the quarterback has no response. So why do you even have a quarterback? Like at some point, the quarterback has something to do with it.
But the roster is bad. You can't. It's the same thing with Darnold. Put Darnold on San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Put Sam Darnold on San Francisco. Put Sam Darnold on the Minnesota Vikings. With Dalvin
Cook. Then why bring in Trevor Lawrence then if the team is just that bad?
Because you have to, but you don't know about the quarterback yet. The quarterback right now fumbles in the pocket how many times already this season? So,
yeah, but the team around him is not good. You're saying so? How do you put that on the quarterback? You still have
to hold on to the fucking ball.
But it's a lot easier to hold on to the ball when your team offensive line is better.
And you have
You're kind of arguing both points.
I'm not arguing both points. As the quarterback, you have to be able to. If you're going to get hit, you have to protect the ball. That's called pocket presence. If the line stinks and you know you have a blitz coming from one way, then you're going to protect yourself that way and be looking that way.
Wrong.
So, as the game slows down for you, those things should help you not fumble the ball in the pocket. If it's week 14 and he's still getting hit cluelessly because he doesn't know where the blitz is coming from and the ball comes flying out, that's a problem after 2 years.
I think they work together because, you could say, well, if he's still throwing dumb picks, but if the receivers aren't that good and they're not getting open and the line's not blocking for him, he has to force a pass in.
But the progression doesn't work together. The progression.
Oh my God!
Whether you have a veteran offensive line, whether you have a veteran or solid offensive line, or you have a young offensive line that's going through struggles, if you have a young quarterback, it remains the same. So if the quarterback has a problem putting the ball on the ground, just because that offensive line is good does not mean that quarterback is not going to get sacked. And if the quarterback has a problem putting the ball on the ground, he has to get better. It's not about the interceptions.
Oh my God!
After last year, I was feeling pretty good about Daniel Jones, and I feel like whether I should or shouldn't be, I'm just recognizing that, like, subconsciously where I'm at right now versus the end of last year or the beginning of this year before the season started, I'm like slightly below it. I'm like, I would have liked to have gotten a win, or like I would have liked the fumbles to not happen as much. So I'm starting to like. I'm kind of like, I was real low, and then I kind of got up here.
I was.
Tim, what do you got? Let
I was absolutely thrilled that kid brought this team back with no Barkley from 17 down, and it worked out in everybody's best favor because they lost the game, and he showed that he could bring them back and get them in position to make a play. I was encouraged. I walked away from this game a lot more encouraged about Daniel Jones. Every week I seem to be a little more. I just want to see him stop fumbling the football. That's it.
Tim's on the delay.
Tim. I also know we have people commenting, and it says 0 people watching. What is that about?
Uh-oh.
Are we off?
No, we're on.
There's
Tim. Tim, you're breaking up for a second. What were you saying? All right. Tim chiming in. Riveting.
Compelling and rich.
Does he know that, Tim, we can't hear you, dude, at all? Nothing. I don't know. Does he know? Does he realize?
No, we see your face moving up and down.
We see your face. It looks like you're making a great point. I gotta tell you,
Tim.
I never thought about it that way before.
I can't believe you brought it
There's
up.
no service up in Camp Wananakadaka.
Tim. Oh, he just bounced, or you cut him?
No, he
I was going to tell him to hold up with his fingers how many wins he thinks the Giants are going to have this year. So let's do that round table. Before the season and now. Before the season, I said optimistically 6, and now I'm thinking probably 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
I said 5, and I don't see it.
2. What do you see?
2, 3. Maybe we get a wash.
How often do teams win 2-3, man? That's really rare.
Look at this. Look at the schedule. Justin,
Schedule's not, dude. Don't we play the Bengals in Washington twice, and we got Tim. You good?
Tim.
Yo.
All right.
Where's the other 2?
You might be on the Carolina delay. We're all here.
Tim, hold up.
Oh.
Blink if
I don't
you're
see
being
the other
held
2 in the
hostage.
video as far as it goes.
Tim.
This is why you don't drink Natty Ice, kid.
Okay. See what you're doing to him, Giants? See what you're doing?
Tim, hold up the amount of fingers, the amount of wins you think the Giants are going to have this year.
Great job, Tim.
No wins.
He's thinking 6. He had 6 fingers up, Marco.
Tim usually only gives us 1 finger. I don't know.
No, that's just me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
we know James
right.
has no pants on right now. All right, let's see what the people...
First of all,
I never have pants.
Chris is capped at negative right now. 3 wins. Replying, Jones, blah, blah. They won't win against the Niners. They could beat the Niners without Bosa and without the starting quarterback and without potentially Kittle. I mean, come on. The Giants, they are... They will win 1 game against Washington. I kind of agree with that. They'll win at least 1 game against Washington.
What's the spread on this game? Is it 5?
I don't know. I'm using my phone to record. I can't look it up. It was like 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing their backup team.
But I don't know. Let's look at the team itself. Marco, what have you been focusing on? I mean, everyone's saying the defense looks better, right? Right now, we've given up the 4th least yards in the NFL so far through 2 games. Granted, not stellar offensive competition.
Right. So we have 35 defensive tackles still. And we take them off the field to play 12 defensive backs, and we get torched for a touchdown. So why are we picking up all these defensive tackles to put corners on the defensive line to stand up to do this amoeba defense, and you get torched twice?
I'd like to know Tim's opinion on something. I'd like to know because I know Tim thinks third round picks don't matter, and the Leonard Williams trade was phenomenal.
Mhm.
So, Tim, can you explain to me where the fuck Leonard Williams was when the game was cut to 7, and then the Bears just decided to kick him in the throat and run the ball down the field, and just take over the game?
Use sign
I'd
language,
not say
Tim.
that.
Can you explain where he was, Tim? He had 2 tackles on the game.
Oh,
No
it's
pressures,
Don't
no
Williams
hits.
only
He
one on
can't
the
defend himself. This is like holding somebody down and
It's
beating him. I
it's
can't
like-
watch this.
He was invisible.
Oh, he was in the
He
middle.
was the invisible
Tim,
man.
we can't
Timothy.
hear you, man. I feel bad. Justin is clearly joking around. He said he would trade Blake Martinez and James Bradbury.
Oh no, he's not joking. He would literally trade every single player for like anything.
Oh, for picks?
Oh, all the time. The feed will just be him trading.
No, you can't
Let me
trade
tell you
those
this
guys
much.
right now.
Let me tell you this much. I am really
You can't
afraid.
trade those.
I am.
He's
I
serious.
am. I am really afraid. Okay, Justin. Sorry, I didn't realize. I am really. I respect all lifestyle choices, Justin. I am really afraid that after me, where am I? I see nobody. I'm the only face in the screen. What's happening here?
You're the
They
best
don't want to
looking
see
one.
me.
Don't worry about
Nah, they don't want to see me. Listen,
Yeah.
after years of me wanting them to draft, what position?
Offensive lineman,
No, bro.
running back, running back,
it. Linebacker.
Running back? No, dude. Who are my boys? Josh
defensive
Allen,
end.
Chase Young. Right, okay. Bond, all these guys. I'm really afraid the Giants are finally going to draft an edge defender in the upcoming draft, and I'm going to be so mad because it is such a bad edge draft. And do you know that the number one edge prospect in the country right now is a guy, Rousseau, from Miami, who was a 3-star high school recruit. He was a redshirt freshman who wasn't even supposed to be a starter. And then in his redshirt freshman year, he played one season, had a really good year, and then he opted out this year and he got himself an agent.
What's his name?
Gregory Rousseau, I believe, 6'6" guy from Miami. The number one edge defender in the draft is going to be a kid, a redshirt freshman, played one season in Miami where they have the 63rd hardest schedule in college football. And he's the number one guy. It is such a bad edge draft. If the Giants take him or something like that, he's 19. He had like 6 good weeks in his career.
I don't know. I think I like this Gregory Russo kid.
Would you just no? What you want to do is Oregon's guy.
I would
Thibodeau,
go for the
whatever.
swollen penis guy myself.
The swollen penis guy.
This Gregory Russo sounds amazing to me.
Dude, do you know about this Oregon kid? Thibodeau?
Yeah, he's coaching the Knicks.
All right, when you want to get serious, last year I'm watching Justin Herbert, who I wanted the Giants to get, right? You take Josh Allen, you get Justin Herbert, you got both of them now, but whatever.
How good did he look?
It looks good. There's this guy running all over the field making tackles. He's a defensive end. Last year I'm watching. I said to my buddy, my friend Jack, I'm like, who the hell is this kid? He's a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
His name is something Thibodeau or something like that. That's his last name. He was the number one recruit in the country. He went to Oregon, true freshman, had a great year. He will be coming out not this year, but next year, 6'5", like 250 at this point. He's the guy I'm already eyeing to be the Giants' edge rusher. Not this year. There's no good edge rushers this year.
Can I just rewind back? When you were saying that this is a bad draft for defensive ends, are you trying to say that RGM can't forecast future needs of the team? Is that what you're trying to hint at?
No.
What's RGM?
Our GM.
I'm like, RG3? Who's he talking about? No. Look, I don't know. We'll see what happens, guys. I don't know. I
think
don't
he's
know.
retiring to the Cape Cod. The end of the year.
He's got the computer folk. We have, look,
I forgot about that.
we have, we're
The big
0-2.
analytics guy.
By the way, I want to give the Giants a little credit, and I just wrote about this online.
Bill.
Tim has now invaded the chat. I am so happy.
Miami.
The ghost of Tim.
The Ghost of you know what I like the Giants did? Do you know what I really, really liked? My favorite thing about the whole game? The Giants were down 17-0. They got the ball back with 14 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah.
And they, instead of taking a knee on their own 25, they threw the ball downfield. They have 2 timeouts. It's the NFL these days. You can go ahead and go for it. You can move pretty quickly. They hit Shepard. I know he ended up busting up his toe around the 50-yard line. They got another couple of passes. Even though the field goal was missed, they at least set themselves up for some points. Teams nowadays, like they do like the little inside handoff and see where it goes, and then they just take a knee. You can get down the field at a couple of plays these days. Someone has to turn down some background music or TV, I think.
Is that you?
Anyway, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm hearing my own echo.
Is it my Italian music playing in
It's
the background?
the ghost of
Or Russo? It's him again.
I don't know. So we're not thinking we have a shot this weekend against San Francisco. I'm the only optimist here. We got what's his face, the running back from Atlanta. Plug in. He'll be able to.
I don't think I would think that this week is going to be more Gallman and Lewis than. I think you may see Freeman, but I don't think you're going to see very much of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't working out. I mean, I'm sure he was doing his own workouts, but he wasn't in training camp. It wasn't like a Fournette situation where he went through training camp and then he got traded or he got released and then he got, so he was in some type of football shape. Like, I don't know realistically how long it's going to take. I mean, I would imagine that if you give him $3 million or at least incentives to make that, and considering the other visits that he had, that there was a conversation where he's going to be, I would assume, a 3-down, primarily a 15 to 20 carry back and catch a couple of passes as well. So I would think to get him up to that speed is going to take 3 full weeks. So you're going to have to, I think you're going to see a little bit of everybody. And the interesting thing will be that if Gallman plays well, is if it turns into a 3-headed committee for the entire season, and then how that works out with Freeman. But if you get 3, 4, 5 carries out of Freeman this week, I think that's the most that you could. I think 5 will be my limit. 5 touches.
Yeah, I think it's going to be by committee. And just
at least for the first couple of weeks until he gets up to some type of playbook and game speed. You would think, to throw him right in, to sign him. I know he's a veteran back. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's familiar with, the offense. I'm sure there's some things that he's familiar with. Maybe the terminology won't be difficult for him to pick up as a veteran, but just like not being in camp and running sprints and, getting hit and those things. Right. I don't know that you want to rush him into that.
Some guy named Tim is writing in. He said, Giants have been in every game. We're not a horrible team. That's with a young team and no preseason. Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams.
Congratulations, Tim. You won a trophy at camp.
Yeah, every team has excuses. Every team has injuries. A lot of teams are young. At the end of the day, you've got to.
It's been 3 freaking years. That's the problem with Tim's argument, is that it's like, okay, well, if you want to take that perspective, if you want to say like, okay, we're young and blah 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 blah, then you should be on board for firing the fucking GM if this is the first year of a rebuild and it's the 3rd year the general manager's been here.
Well, because that's kind of what. Well, James, that's kind of.
If you look at this as year 1 of a rebuild. This is something, then you could say, okay, I like the young pieces on this team. I have I have a young quarterback. I have who are my young pieces that are going to be here long term? Problem is that the GM clusterfucked us for 2 seasons. So this team could be light years ahead of where it is right now. Light years ahead of where it is right now. That's on the GM.
Well, that's kind of what I said earlier in the show is. All right, so there's a great movie. I think it won like 17 Oscars, Dante's Peak, with Pierce Brosnan about the volcano that erupts. If you guys are familiar with the movie Dante's Peak.
I'm familiar with it. I've never seen it.
Not on my
he's-
radar, my friend.
And he's trying to tell the villagers that I say villagers, they live in a village, they're not like villagers. He's trying to. It takes place in modern times. He tries to tell them that like there's like some light seismic activity going on, but they're not really afraid. But it keeps getting worse and worse. And so he gives them the analogy about the frog in the hot water, right? If you put a frog in hot water, it jumps right out. But if you put him in cool water, slowly heat it, it'll just sit there and melt to death. And he was relaying it to that's what was going on in the town. That's kind of how I'm feeling like as a Giants fan. I've never seen Giants fans happier to lose 2 games. And
Never.
I understand you can
It's
talk
disgusting.
about rebuild and young and this and
It's
that.
Stockholm syndrome.
You can always have excuses, and I get it. I'm not expecting Super Bowl. I predicted 6 wins and thought that was maybe even a little high, but it is kind of like that's why I said I think we're going to be the first team ever to go 0-16, but have 16 moral victories. Like at some point, you've got to win games. The schedule doesn't get any easier, so I would have liked to have seen them pull one of these out at least.
The franchise, the fan base has Stockholm syndrome. They've been
Well, that's the thing,
beaten.
James. That's the final sentence. What I'm saying is, I think that is an indication now of where we really are.
Yes,
that
it's
we're
a
like,
shame.
You know
It's a
what? We're
one proud
0-2,
fan
but I'm
base
feeling
that-
kind of okay about
Remember
starting 0-2. That's like no
remember-
offense to the Jets
remember
fans
when the
watching.
bar
That's
was
Jets
high?
mentality.
That's 8 years.
Remember-
It's almost 8 years of it. And
Remember when the bar was high, guys? Remember when the bar was high?
mhm.
I mean, the bar is low now. I mean, you look over the last couple of years. I mean, it's comical how bad they've been.
There's no narrative. There's no they have no identity right now. If the defense can maybe do some cool things, can keep this up.
Daniel Jones right now has to. This is a golden opportunity for Daniel Jones, without Saquon Barkley there, to become the guy. Like you were the guy before, like last year, and you're coming in this year, and everybody knows you're the guy. Eli's not there, but Saquon's still the face. No more.
The
Welcome
curse of
to New York.
2018. No, I
Welcome.
don't believe the curse of
Welcome.
2018.
I don't believe in any curse whatsoever. I think that running.
Somebody
I
just
think
wrote that in.
I think that running backs get hurt.
Mhm.
I think that's why investing in one is dangerous, because this is what happens.
That's why most teams are going by committee.
You know what I find interesting too? Like both of Daniel Jones's big comebacks, 17 points almost, whatever, and then 18 points.
Saquon wasn't on the field either.
He got hurt in both games. I mean, I got to reference my dad right now. My dad's like, I think it might be a blessing because the Giants and the other teams can just stop focusing on Saquon, even though it's not like he's not like Beckham where he's drawing it to himself, where it's the Beckham show because Beckham wants to be the Beckham show. Saquon, I think we all agree, is like the kind of guy you want on your team. But there was so much emphasis. Like when I watch the Giants, I'm almost like I don't care what happens as long as Saquon has like a big run. You know what I mean? And now it's almost like, all right, let's
back to football. Back to football.
I love Saquon. I'm not going to say anything, but it's a shame.
A lot of fans like the long highlight. You see, I mean, even the Giants Twitter page, they post long highlights of his runs. Meanwhile, the Giants lost by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and what I think I learned about Saquon is, I think this might be a little confusing, but I think it's true. I think he's not like great at creating holes. Like there's a lot of little guys who just hit the hole super hard and speedy and can do things like that. Or even a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, I hate to give him any credit, but he kind of always falls forward no matter who's in front of him. Saquon to me is not great at creating that, but once there is an opening, once the line does create a hole, I think he's the best running back in the NFL, if that makes sense, when he has a lane and they can do things in the open field. So
it makes
this offensive line is difficult.
That was the knock on him coming into what was the knock in 2018?
He couldn't run in between the tackles.
The concern in 2018 when we were sitting here going, why don't you take a running back at 2? Why don't you well, the play, if you evaluate the player, you saw a lot of big plays from Saquon, but what you didn't see was him churning out 3, 4 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, carrying a guy, getting extra tough yards between the tackles.
He did in his rookie year lead the league, I think, in creating missed tackles, but it's like breaking through the line is difficult for him.
Yeah, when you get him in the open field, he's completely electric. I feel bad for Saquon Barkley, because he should have never been taken by a team with a bad roster.
Right.
Like
Right. If he's drafted at like 18,
Yeah.
then the team is okay, and all that.
and you're getting a decent, and you're getting a piece to a veteran team or something like Saquon could have been in a much better situation going to that roster
Yeah.
where it was just trouble. It was just absolute trouble.
I got a question for you. Do you think the roster, in regards to Saquon, is better this year or his rookie year, specifically with the O line?
Oh, I'd say, oh man, that's a tough 1 through 53.
Nah, it's got to just be the O line, right? And then who was the O line though? Then I mean, we have Solder.
Yeah,
Not his rookie year.
yeah. That was the year that they
did. We have Flowers and Solder.
That's when everybody tells you, oh yeah, the Jerry Reese's roster was terrible. He was left with a terrible roster. What's Gettleman supposed to do? Well, what Gettleman thought of Reese's roster was he thought he was a running back, Nate Solder, away from making that a Super Bowl team. So he obviously thought highly of the roster.
Cruz in 26 says most of the fans wanted Barkley, and now they're all quiet. And here's how I felt about that. I didn't care so much who they took, and I'm more vested in the draft these past couple of years. I was excited that they got Barkley because I think everybody, the little boy inside of you, is like, oh, wow, we have the guy that people around the league are going to be talking about. And so when they took him, I was kind of like, all right, this could be really cool. Is it the right move? I guess that's what the draft with Darnold, right? Where we thought they were going to take Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure.
It wasn't even about Darnold. To me, it wasn't like Darnold was. If you were going to take a quarterback, my preference at 2 would have been Darnold. But if you would have traded back, if you would have said to me, hey, listen, guess what? We don't like any of these fucking quarterbacks. We don't like any of them. We're going to trade back. Then at least that makes sense, and you're getting value for number 2. A running back at 2 is not value. Paying a running back before he takes a snap $8 million and making him the 5th highest paid at his position is not smart.
I mean, the kid led the NFL in total yards as a rookie.
And they won how many games?
Well, right. And that's what I'm trying to say to people now. I said that the other day because I saw somebody said Saquon out, season over. I was like, the season was over before it started. Like, this is not – I'm like, the guy led the league, he led the league in yards, and they won 3 or 5 that year. Either way. Look, the Giants have the worst record in football over the past 3 years. Not the Lions, not the Jets, not the Browns, not the Bengals. It's the Giants. And that is sad. And now here we are going, well, they almost won one of the first 2 games, kind of. So it's not good. So the question, guys, to be positive here,
what do you propose?
where do we go? I mean, is there a chance? Look, the Super Bowl Giants started off 0-2. I'm not saying this team has that defense or that leadership or anything like that. But what do we think of Joe Judge so far?
So far so good.
I don't think he's going to be Mr. I don't think he's going to be Mr. Challenge Flag or Mr. like thinking on the spot about a lot. He seems kind of basic to me. A couple of times I'm like, whoa, how come we don't look at that? Wait, why are they not doing this? I don't think he's going to be Mr. like in-game adjustment. But you guys educate me on something. I have
concerns about Jason Garrett.
I have a question for you
more
guys.
Than I have concerns about Joe Judge.
The second half of the Pittsburgh game, I don't remember how it broke down score-wise. I just remember thinking that the Giants were getting run on like crazy in the fourth quarter. I was a little nervous about second half adjustments, but people were saying that they haven't really given up points in the second. Do we know the point breakdown in the second half? It was 0 this past week.
I could look it up. Hold on. And if anyone knows it.
But you were saying, James,
jump in the trap.
Garrett, you said, and Judge?
Here's my thing: is I'm not watching these games worried about if they're going to win them or lose them. I'm watching these games and I'm looking at Lorenzo Carter and I'm going, what is this coaching staff doing with Lorenzo Carter? I'm watching B.J. Hill and I'm going, what is this coaching staff doing with B.J. Hill? I'm watching Thomas and I'm going, what are they doing with Andrew Thomas? I want to see if Perk comes along and becomes good enough to play or at least compete for a spot at some point. I want to see what Gates does now that he has the opportunity. I want to see if Hernandez can turn a corner. I want to see the impact that Joe Judge and the coaching staff are having on a young team. And if I see progression in the individual players that could be a part of the solution long term, I'm not worried about winning football games right now. All I'm worried about is finding good, young football players that could be a part of a long-term solution. Because guys, we're at the ground level. The problem is that they've been bad for so long, and we're desperate for a winning team, and we're desperate to feel like winners again. But if you assess the situation, they are not ready. Leonard Williams is not a good football player to be paying $16 million to. It's just, it's not good business. And those things have to work themselves out before the roster is going to be competitive.
Yeah, but the wins, I mean, if they were to win a couple of games, it kind of goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. Like,
they're going to win a couple of games just from being out there. I mean, they're going to win 3, 4, 5 games. But what are we getting our hopes up for?
Well, but the thing is, where's the
like,
balance?
Are they better
though?
off
Because
winning 5 games or 3 games?
Well, right. That becomes the question. It depends on what you do with that third.
That's the difference
pick.
between Chase Young and not Chase Young.
Don't bring that person up to me, please. I
But,
still
um,
have
but- but
nightmares.
you see-
I have nightmares about that.
But do you
still.
see my point? But that's my point, buddy. And I'm not trying to be a dick. And everybody calls me negative. And I'm really, this shit keeps me up at night. I fucking love this team. This makes me nauseous that I feel like this. And it's been 3 years of this. This is ridiculous. And so I'm trying to find some positives. And to me, I don't know about Judge. I have no clue what Joe Judge is going to be. I was a special teams coach. After 2 weeks, I still don't know. Okay, but I know that these guys play hard for them.
You can't tell me that you would rather see great individual progressions on a team that wins 3 games than have the team win 8 games and however the fuck it looks.
I could. I definitely could.
So you care more about individuals? You don't care about wins then?
Not in the first year of a rebuild. No. Not in the first year of a rebuild.
Would you rather they win the Super Bowl or win 3 games but have good progression of players?
With this, look at the fucking roster.
It's a hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. You're saying wins don't matter at all.
Show me a roster that I think can get to 9 games, and at that point I'll be like, okay, I'll root for this team to turn the corner mid-year and win 10, 11 games, win a couple of games that they weren't supposed to. This team is an expectation of 4 to 5 win team.
I believe this team is probably going to win like 4. I said 4.5 games, but let's put something in perspective. And James, you're smart enough to do this. We know in sports it's week to week. Okay, Jones could go out this weekend. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Jones could go out this weekend, throw 5 touchdowns, have one of those 5 touchdown pass, no interception games, and the Giants defense does another good job, and the Giants all of a sudden beat San Francisco 31-17, and all of a sudden we're singing a different tune. Well, maybe they can win 8 games. Maybe
first, hold on.
Wait, it's still very early.
I don't think
it's
very
early.
Will, that's the problem. Okay, that is therein lies the problem. If you are a Giants fan, and on Monday morning, if you are fucking crowing about being a team with 37 guys on the IR, you have mental problems. Okay? Now, if there's a game that they're going to win, this is the game to win it. This is a prime game at home for them to win against this team, with this team being this banged up. Mm-hmm. So if there's 4 or 5 games that you're looking at, this needs to be one of them this week. So I'm just saying
it's early
to win this week, but
no, it's
awesome. But at the same token, what the fuck are you beating?
I'm just saying that it is.
I don't think
early in the season, and we can record this conversation, and then in a few weeks from now, if all of a sudden it's not impossible for them to win a couple of games, and we're like, hey, they're decent.
Don't hold your breath. Look at their schedule.
If this week Jones goes out, throws 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles, and the Giants win, it's not going to change the outlook of the season. It's going to change the outlook of Jones. Maybe we do have the guy.
That's how I don't. Exactly.
I don't think everyone's going to be like, "Oh, here we go, playoff bound." We're only 1 game behind.
I didn't.
That's
what,
dude, and that's what, and And even then, I would say Jones did it against a bunch of rookies, but he did what he was a bunch of backups, but he did what the fuck he was supposed to do against a bunch of backups. He went out and he rolled them.
I'm
That
not
makes
trying to be
me
some
feel good.
look. I'm very realistic to even pessimistic. I'm simply trying, since we're being so negative. I'm just saying, just remember that
This is positive for me.
in sports. The Yankees lost like 7 games in a row, and I was like, they're trash. They're not going to do anything. Then they won 10 games in a row, and I was like, oh man, this team could do this, this, and that. So it's very
Will, but you're
early.
smart.
It's
But Will, like
very
you told
early.
me, I'm smart enough to know. You're smart
Right.
enough to know that the Yankees, when you look at their roster, there's a reason to get excited when they start ripping off a couple of wins.
Sure.
That before the season started, what was the expectation? World Series, right? Our expectation was 6 wins.
Right. But they could still hit 6 wins. It's not impossible.
They could, but is that in their best interest right now? Is my question.
That's a separate question.
100%. And
Right.
there's no control over there's no control. It's in high, as a fan, you sit here and you go, what would be the best thing for them? That doesn't mean it's going to happen. They're going to go out every week and they're going to try to win. Can I see them beating Washington twice, the Eagles once, this game this weekend, and finding another 2 games and getting the 6 wins? Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That's not
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying we don't know. I'm just saying we don't know at this point. All I was saying with the comment is we don't know at this point if they're a 1-win team or a 6-win team. And that is a big difference, and we'll have a lot of different end of the year shakeouts and different things that'll happen. What's in the best interest of the team is totally different. As I've said, I hate being in that 4 to 6 win range. I don't like that.
If you're gonna fuck up, do it all the way.
Go all the way.
So, of course, my comment elicits from Tim, Yankees blow. But yeah, I don't know. I probably see about 4 wins for them. I do think the Jets will get the number 1 pick with 3 wins. I don't think the Giants are. If I had to bet, I wouldn't bet on the Giants this week, but I'm just saying it's possible. And again, I even said to my buddy, I'm like, I don't want to win this week. Maybe, James, you'll appreciate this. I said, because if our true nature is like a 3-win team, I don't want to get a win to screw the draft up 1 more game against a team that we're not really built to beat anyway. They just happen to be injured. Do you know what I mean?
If you think it makes me happy that it's fucking September and I'm worried about the draft,
it's the worst. I can't believe
it's the absolute worst. But you know what? We're going to have bad dreams of Chase Young for the next 12 years, man. And I think back to last year, and I'm like, oh, my God. And I think back to 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh, when you blow draft capital, when you don't do the right thing, when you put yourselves in a situation where you're costing yourself players like that, I don't know. It's troubling, man. And they've made no progress under the Gettleman regime whatsoever. They got a couple of nice pieces, and now you have to hope that those pieces can turn into the long-term solution. But it starts now for me. Like this is the first year that I'm really like, okay, let's see what young pieces we got, because the last couple of years have been choppy.
No, I got you. I cut you off by accident, James. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No. You're fine.
Choppy was the last. All right. Let's kind of do positive here. Let's name 3 things each. Let's go round the horn. 3 things that we would like, and for you guys at home, you can write in 3 things you would like to see this year. 3 things that you would like to see happen, and they'll be like win the Super Bowl, like really, or so and so.
Carter,
Gettleman gets hit with a brick in the head. Like, don't say like what are 3 things you actually like to see?
Here you go. Carter gives up. Carter gets 10 sacks. Thomas progresses to the point where we know we have a blindside left tackle, and we're confident with him going into the second year. And Jones stops fumbling the football in the pocket.
Right. Marco, what do you got?
I would say progression on Jones. I would say we have Joe Judge with a firm grip on the team. And I
like that one, Marco. Nice firm grip there. I like the Kung Fu grip answer.
Yeah, and I think I would maybe I would like to see Julian Love progress. Our secondary is horrible, and if he could fill in that safety or or anything
This
is good
guy.
to me.
Number one, Gettleman resigns. Vangloriousness. Tim also, I think, maybe being sarcastic. Will and James are so polite to one another when it comes to getting a word in. You couldn't speak. We couldn't hear you. That's why. That's part of the reason. So
Oh,
your
man.
third one, Marco, was
I
Love.
think Love. I want to see Love progress.
Yeah.
Because then if we have safety set, we could retry to address, corners again.
Gotcha.
Do we have safety set though? Do you sign Peppers long term?
I like Peppers and McKinney, hopefully. McKinney. Let's not forget about him.
Yo, my
No,
God,
I'm not
that's right. I
forgetting
did
about
totally
McKinney.
forgot.
I
I
just-
totally
I don't
forgot
know.
about him.
I don't know that I would want. I don't know what Peppers is going to want, and I don't know
I'm
that
happy.
he's necessarily worth that.
Guys,
What
by
do
the
you
way,
mean?
don't worry about asking me what my three things are. It's not a big deal.
Well, we just
Yeah,
figured
we'll
you would
skip
just
over
throw
it.
them in.
We'll
You
skip
came
over
up with- We figured you'd
Right.
write them in. We figured you would write them in.
Are you at home or no?
We're getting some good ones. I haven't really given it thought. I just kind of thought of it, but I think we kind of agree on obviously Jones.
Yeah.
Protect the ball, just string together. I would like to see him string together. I hate to put a number on it, but give me a few games of over 65 passing percentage. Give me 300 yards, couple touchdowns. 3-to-1 touchdown, even 2.5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Just the definite progression on him, where you can say, okay, be able to say by the end of the year, Jones looks like the guy. That's
All
my
right.
Jones thing. Number two would be I would like to see Andrew Thomas. I'd like to feel like by the end of the year, he's kind of like shut down. He's kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
he's our left
That's a
tackle.
good one. That's a good one.
And then just, I guess maybe this is cheating, but just in general, our defense has been, and Marco, I know you preach this all the time, they've been bottom 5 for like at least 5 years, and like
Mhm.
sometimes
Yes.
historically bad. If
Mhm.
the Giants defense can be around like top half of the league, or even in the middle, like I would just be thrilled to know that our defense is not Swiss cheese. You know what I mean? Just to be like, okay, we have a defense for once. That would be my three things.
Bruce Bain should have the Giants hired Louis Riddick in the first place. Giants owners are stuck in 2006. They need to update their thinking.
Very true. Very true. Here's I'll tell you.
Number three, we win. We win.
Celtics. Celtics just lost Marcos by 3.
Final?
So I'm going to go punch a hole in a wall. But, before I do,
Go ahead.
here's what I'm worried about right now. I think this is
The wall?
I think this is definitely the fucking wall. I'm definitely and my neighbor's calling the cops. But
Don't get turf toe.
I will try not to. I may rip an ACL. But too soon?
No, not too soon.
Not for you, apparently.
Thanks a lot. I'm worried about if the next GM is already picked, or if it's gonna come from if they're gonna actually go outside the organization and find somebody to come in and do this thing the right way. And I got a feeling that it's just gonna be handed right over to Abrams, and
Yeah. I agree.
and we'll see
Agree.
what happens.
But what's it going to take, right? If what did the Giants win this past year? 4.
Yeah.
I'm
No, 5.
If the Giants win 6 games, Jones plays really well, and these guys that Gettleman brought in, and Thomas and Dexter Lawrence all have really monster years. You don't think they keep them? I mean, the Giants aren't usually the quick fire type guys.
I think the transition has already started to take place to Abrams. I think they know that Abrams is going to be the next guy, and they are just starting to.
I think he just retires, honestly.
So I think that's what's going to happen. I really do.
He doesn't. He's not that kind of guy. I don't think.
I got you, Daniel Jones. I got you a couple of pieces. You guys are good, and I'm going to Cape Cod.
If Jones has, excuse me, I'm like burping on the air here. If Jones has a good year, Gettleman's not going to want to let that go. He's going to want to be
See you through.
Yeah, he's stick around, be like his little buddy.
Listen, Ernie
Wasn't that like
Accorsi.
Ernie Accorsi?
Ernie
Right?
Accorsi did it.
When I think Ernie Accorsi, I think Eli Manning, and I think Gettleman's probably going to want that. Now, if Jones spits the bit, he might go have some chowder and retire up the Martha's Vineyard.
He picked him. He didn't win a Super Bowl.
Tim would like to say, let's go Heat. And he's saying 3-1 Heat. I don't know what that means.
What time the Sixers play?
Vangloriousness wants to know who's better, Peppers or Collins. I kind of feel like they're almost interchangeable. Is that just me? But we have a special teams player in Peppers.
The only thing I say that Peppers gives you more from a special team aspect, and like Peppers can play. Like if you wanted him like to flash as a wide receiver, and here's the other, don't be surprised if you see them use him on offense to try to get a spark somewhere here along the way.
I really haven't even seen Landon Collins play this year. I don't even know how he's doing.
He's not playing bad. I mean, that defense isn't play. The problem with that team is they don't have any weapons around at all. They need to start just playing Gibson a lot more. They're messing around with running backs and stuff. Let that kid Gibson play. He's the only one with talent in the backfield. The front seven looks really good for Washington. Philadelphia looks like an absolute mess. Dallas secondary's a mess. It's whole league, man, up in the air right now.
Except for those top few.
What's your boy is chiming in. Does he want to jump on?
Who's that?
Whose boy?
Will?
Who is?
Your boy Jack.
He is where? I don't know. Does he jump in? I can't use my phone right now because I'm filming on my phone. If he's ready to come in, come in. I'm kind of getting tired.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset. I'm a little upset because I'm hearing good things about Becton and I'm hearing good things about Wirfs. And if you have the 4 pick, I wanted them to kind of trade it and just take one of those guys later, even though Thomas was my guy and it's only 2 games. But
well, I think
I saw a little bit of Becton with the Jets, but nothing crazy.
To me, the reason why you're hearing about those guys more is because they were more projects, and now they've come up to speed a little bit. I think the reason why he wasn't the sexy pick, Thomas, because I don't think his ceiling was so high because I think he was the closest one that's a finished, polished product. Like
that was right. That was the rap. Was lowest floor, highest floor, lowest ceiling. We kind of know what he is. Yeah. So I was just hoping that the other guys wouldn't turn out great. And then again, Thomas went up against a lot of really good defenses. I saw a couple of, I don't know. I kind of rewatched a little bit one of the games. And Thomas, one thing I don't love is he kind of now what's happening here? What was that?
No, I was just fooling around with the settings.
Thomas got completely blown by 1 or 2 times. For the most part, he gets in front of you, but he's kind of wide with his hands, and guys get a little bit in on him. And he did get pushed back into Jones a few times. I think because that was the thing is he physically freak enough? Is he strong enough type of thing? We know he's got good position. His footwork is impeccable. Mm-hmm. So, it's only 2 games. I know that offensive tackles tend to struggle. I think I was very happy with the first game.
First game he played good.
Yeah.
Second game he still played well. It's not like he got destroyed.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
and he's going up against Khalil Mack a majority of the time.
Not a majority. It was that Quinn guy most of the time, but
but still, Robert Quinn's a pass rusher. He's a professional pass rusher.
Yeah.
Listen. If your expectations are that high of a rookie offensive tackle, then again, like you need to assess your football acumen.
No. I was just saying because
not you. I'm saying for certain people. Like
right.
If you're looking like Andrew Thomas, there's nothing he has done in 2 games that should give you any cause for concern. He's held his own against 2 very solid defensive fronts. It's with no preseason. And in an offense where he's playing, he's playing left tackle. Didn't he play right tackle last year for a while?
Did he move him to right? No. He's always been a left tackle.
Still, left tackle getting thrown in.
He's always been left.
At the NFL level, getting thrown into the water like that is not easy to do.
I'm just saying because I heard Becton and Wirfs were killing it, and I was like, it's a little bit.
They're playing well. He's not doing anything to. I mean, to me at least, he's not doing anything to take away from the fact that he should have been the 4th pick. I still like him. I mean, he's
and Darnay Holmes, right? He's been getting playing
well. Yeah.
We'll get McKinney back. That should be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Is he coming back this season?
Yeah, I think they said November. November.
Honestly,
he never had an injury in his life.
All right, I'm getting sleepy eye 2s, my friends.
All right, guys.
Yeah, as indicated by that sentence, I'm getting sleepy eyes 2s, my friends.
James, go punch a wall.
I'm gonna go punch a wall. Later, guys.
All right.
All right, yeah, easy there on the knuckles. Marco, this was great, man. Thanks everyone
Welcome
for
back.
writing in. Appreciate it. I hope we got
Yes.
to some of your comments. I know there's a lot to unpack. All I'm trying to say is two things.
What are you trying to say?
One, it's very upsetting to me that we're in a position where we're kind of like, well, we almost won, and we should feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing is, it is very early. Jones could end up being a Pro Bowler, or he could end up getting benched. It's so early. We will see what happens, but I would say 4.5 wins. You see 2 or 3. You see 2.5.
I see 2.5. I think we get one with Washington, and I would say we'll upset someone that I'm not expecting us to beat.
Don't we play the Bengals? Don't we play some other teams that are like meh here and there?
I think we do play the Bengals.
Yeah.
We'll
see. Great show. I just found you guys. You got a new sub over here. Peace and love to you, gentlemen. I read gentlemen and I see Gettleman.
All the time.
We're going 10-6. Somebody.
There we go.
Duke and Falconer. Bengals. We can beat the Eagles. It's the division. You never know what happens. I would say 4 to 5 wins. It could be 2. It could be 8. We don't know yet, but I'm going to say about
the way it's playing right now.
Doesn't look good. You need those wins, though. They build character. They let you know you can win a game. And I don't want to see these guys getting sour. These guys.
Wait. What we didn't talk about, say they miraculously do get 6-7 games. What does that say about Saquon?
Well, it's not about him. It's about the position, I think. It also says that his name is Saquon, not Saquon, as you said.
You are incorrect. How dare
what does
you
it say?
How dare you interject on my podcast?
It would. Oh, now it's yours. You always said it was a group effort, Marco. You got all the fans behind you.
That was mine. See, all them.
But listen, you're right. It would just speak to the position. But the offensive line, if you put, again, it's like the Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith argument, right? If you put Saquon with Dallas's offensive line right now and Zeke on this one, it's a whole different story. So
actually, I wanted to bring just one other guest into the room. I just wanted to bring other.
Dude, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. This is not. Hold on, let me do a Brady Bunch thing.
I hung up on that guy.
Dude, how do you know I had I had pants on, or what was going on?
I can see.
That was
hand down.
To explain what we're doing is because I'm logged in on the screen so I can read all of your viewer comments. So I have to have the camera on, but he's got that one backstage. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. That's really what I needed.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
I wanted everyone to see that other angle.
Yeah, the other angle. That's the behind the scenes that you only get once James and Tim log off.
We don't know those other 2 pictures on the other side.
Now the party really starts. We crack open the beers. Mark, It was great seeing you, though, buddy.
Yeah, no, great seeing you.
Right.
Next Wednesday, we're probably doing it again, 10 o'clock. More than welcome, always.
Sounds good. We'll see how smart or dumb we sound.
Everyone, everyone, thank you for joining us in. It's saying we have 0 watchers. I don't know.
It said that for a long time, that everyone's commenting, so I think that is incorrect. This is fake news.
Yeah, we have 32 on... Oh, now it's dropping off. People are saying that we're leaving. All right.
Bye.
Peace, everyone. Thanks for all the new subscriptions, all that. Peace. Booyah.